everyone, and welcome back. Final series of the day. TSM going up against here. Excited for this one. I am enjoying how that second game played out, though. To touch on that last series, just real quick. IFAM, they put up a fight in that second game, Cubby, and honestly, they didn't take the win, but I'm glad we got to see some fun little plays, especially Lunacia and the solo kills on top.
I mean, Lunacia, this is a team that's 1-15, and he is top 5 of the league in solo kills. I think that says a lot about how well he's been playing. He was the player that we knew the least amount about coming into this split of NACL, and he's given us a lot of reason to learn a lot more about him. So we want to keep on seeing that aggression from Lunacia. And one of these days, FlyFam's going to put up more than one win in the second half of the season. I'm confident. They're very close. They just got to fix some things later.
Also, I just want to throw in, I think that he's actually going to be maybe even higher in the solo kill count, because he got, what, 3 solo kills that last game?
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Moose is above him, and he picked up a couple at the end, too, so you know.
True, okay.
We'll have to crunch some numbers after stream, so that'll be fun. This next series, though, the final one, is going to be one of our challengers teams going up against one of our provisional teams. But yet again, one of our top provisional teams. This was the top provisional team and second in the league before taking that loss to Dignitas yesterday, which is definitely shaking up a couple of those spots then afterwards. But regardless, going up against TSM, I'm sure they're going to be hungry for blood.
Yeah, real quick, I don't know if we're going to be able to one-box me here, but a reminder that this was the PvP update. Wildcard was right below Fear coming into the day, but Wildcard just got a 2-0, so they're actually moving up above Fear as of right now. Fear needs to get at least one win here to tie Wildcard. 2 would keep them in the lead, so I just wanted to show that off real quick. Because I think it's kind of cool to keep that updated. Though these two teams are really the top 2 provisional teams that we have.
I'm glad that graphic design is your passion again here, Kangas.
I'm only going to be putting my graphic requests through Kangas from here on out.
Couldn't handle the graphic.
Couldn't handle the graphic. Too many emojis.
Oh, goodness. Let's start talking about our teams, though, because if Fear want to be proving themselves is still deserving of that spot where they are on that PvP graphic, they need to be taking down TSM Challengers. Going up against this roster, I mean, I know, Kangas, that there is excitement over this top side.
Yeah, I mean, clearly Hanser's been dominating a lot of his lane opponents. I think he's the clear standout player. You see a lot of recognizable names and faces on this roster for anybody who's been following the North American scene for the last 10 years. But it is important to note that the players are still kind of in a rough spot here as they're coming into this week. You know, the team, for a couple players that have said in their interviews that their goal is to make it back to the LCS, this is really where they can compete right now. It hasn't fully come together as a team, even though we've seen individual performers standing out, and that's why you mentioned the top half of the map. Hanser and Svenskjaer are the 2 that kind of have been leading that charge so far.
And going up against Cincinnati Fear, they're going to have to find that mesh as a team, because this is a team, I mean, all the provisional teams, they really have a lot to prove going into this, and they have to be meshing, they have to be working together well, and they have been doing really well, and there has been a lot of people impressed by individual performances. Faisal in particular, Cubby, has someone that we've talked about almost after every matchup is like, wow, that was a really good game from him.
Yeah, I was high on Faisal going into the split. I thought he was the best performing top laner in Amateur last year. I was surprised that he wasn't on a Challenger squad, and he's been proving it. He's been playing really well on the top side, and this is a top lane matchup that I'm pretty excited about. Because Hanser is leading all of our top laners in gold diff at 15. I want to see if Faisal can survive this test. And for both of these top laners, I feel like they are better than what their teams are on. Like, Faisal is on a provisional team. He is playing at a Challengers level. He's been able to prove that. Hanser, he had a account that was high challenger all of last year. He, again, is leading top laners in gold div 15 in the league. He's been playing a lot better than what TSM's record has shown. And I think it's going to be a fun test in the top lane to see these 2 go toe-to-toe.
I feel like if we did a heavyweight SmackDown that was serious, we did a heavyweight SmackDown this week, but it was maybe a little more on the casual side of things. But this was another example that we could have gone for. Super heavyweight SmackDown. But yeah, Faisal Hanser is one that I've been looking forward to all week once I heard that I was casting this series, because it really does feel like one of the best top laners that we've had in the history of North America, going up against one of my most hyped top laners from the provisional level. And it's going to be cool to see this clash, because Hanser's playing a different style in the last couple of games. As you see here, a lot of Scion. He was playing for lane. he was playing for carries. But then if you look at his most recent performances, he's just been playing for kind of the team role, being this front line and picking up this heavy tank pick, which not everybody else is playing. So I think it kind of shows just how long Hanser's been playing for and how experienced he is on many different styles of champions. The team doesn't need him to necessarily be piloting the split push hyper carry. They also feel comfortable putting him on the tank, and he can still perform on that too.
I'm on the Sion tech, by the way. Sion right now, into Kasante too, big fan. So Hanser, good on you for pulling that out. We're seeing that across the world right now. So it's looked good.
I'm excited for this one too, because we have seen a couple of one-sided games today. And I'm really hoping with both of these teams, with a lot to be proving, both on just an individual player and a team standard, that we could really get to see these players just facing off at the best level. Do we think this was going to be close? Yay or nay from both of you?
I think so. I actually do. I think that Cincinnati Fear are coming in with a lot more wins under their belt, but strength of schedule wise, they've played against a lot of teams that have a lower than 50% win rate. TSM, it's kind of the opposite, and I do still think that they have a lot of firepower. So I'm saying this is pretty close to 50-50 for me.
I could see a split. I'm going to favor Fear a little bit based on what we've seen from the teams.
Well, let's not wait any further. Let's get right into this and send it on over to draft.
Thank you, Sierra. All right, so we're both thinking it should be a close match now, and then we've both said that out loud and jinxed the teams. It's going to be a smash either way, right? I'm pretty sure that's generally how the trend goes.
You called it. You're 100% right, Kangas. We'll get our caster curse on. I'm just hoping to keep you for the entire match this time around. You know, you got quite the test. So too. You got quite the test the next halftime show.
Oh, yeah, the teaser for that one. I also want to specify or bring up something here. We haven't made the video yet, but hopefully that'll be coming out sometime next week. I did go and hang out with the Cincinnati Fear team. We went to the gym, got a little pump in together. It was fun hanging out with them as well as their team manager, Cade. And just hearing how much work they're putting in this split. This is a team that is putting their entire, monthly stipend that they get from their org from playing towards rent, towards food, towards just living in LA. And then all of their time is spent grinding the game and then going to the gym. So they are focused on physical fitness and performance as well as in-game performance, and it's showing on the Rift. And it's just such like a classic Challengers League story. When you look at the old Challengers League of like a group of high elo players coming together, making their own team and getting things going. And I really want to highlight that for Cincinnati Fear going forward because their story is just so interesting to hear how dedicated they are to improving and playing at this level.
I got a lot of the same sense of that when I popped by their scrims this week too, because I knew I was casting both their sets. So I know that like they have analysts staying up till literally flipping their entire sleep schedule, unpaid, staying up till 4 a.m. overseas to help this team prep. And we've seen it in the results. Again, 11 wins as a provisional team. Very impressive, not to mention the 11-5 record. They have a good chance to put a couple more on the board here, as we are going to kick things off with a Sejuani pick for Svenskeren.
Okay, catch up with the bans too. The Cassid's taken off the table. We still have Caitlyn up, who has been banned so far today. So I wonder if Trevor wants to pilot that one, or Manui. I guess either one of them could pull that out, but probably the Maokai trade right now for Cincinnati Fear, and then one of their bot laners. Oh, okay, this is a flex. Shochi has actually been piloting this in the mid lane.
Now, I think you pair this with Maokai because Maokai does have magic damage. So I feel like you take that now and hide some of your cards. We'll see if there's another pick that Fear are going to really prioritize, but Sochi, he had a massive game already on the Tristana mid. But this is also something that Manui has historically played bot too, so I like the fact he called it out as a flex.
Jochi started his Tristana game 2-0. They were
that was a then he like got a quad. It was tough.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting. Now obviously if you don't start lane phase 2-0, very different game for Tristana, but we know that Shochi does like to pilot that, and it's like you said, holding their cards close to the chest. I expect a support lock in here most likely. Maybe a top laner, but Silas for TSM Challengers.
So I say wow because that's a bad matchup in the Tristana. Now I know that a Maokai ult's already showing that can be enough to just lock that, but it's not a good matchup in the Trist. So I am really curious to see. I think if I'm Fear, you can't really slam Caitlyn here, and it's kind of hard to slam Zeri. I'm wondering if they just matched that Cassante in the top side. So this is going to be a very different draft than what we're used to seeing. I'm really expecting that Tristana to be played mid already. So we're going to have bot lanes actually deprioed from each of our teams. That's something we don't usually see in this meta. So very interested to see where this draft goes.
Hey, I mean, we teased that top half of the map is where we were looking for both of these teams mostly. And I think it's delivering. Haunter gets the Cassante. Faisal gets the Fiora. This is kind of living up to this matchup that we were talking about. This is pretty skill intensive.
I mean, Haunter's Cassante has been really, really, really good this split too. A lot of players have been crediting him for his laning on this champion. And Fiora is a champ that I feel like can win this matchup. But curiously enough, is actually going to be the first Fiora that we've seen out of Faisal. So really excited to see what he brings to the table on this champ.
Interesting. Well, now that makes me wonder, is that just because that's how Pick and Ban has shaped up, or is it something that he wasn't maybe as confident on coming into the split?
I mean, I have faith that Faisal can play the champ. I think that everyone should be able to play Fiora right now, but I think a lot of his role has actually been on, his old off that he was always known for on the ladder, but also some Cassante himself, and the answers into that. So one of the few times that we're actually seeing the Fiora taken. It is really good in the 3 champs that TSM are showing, so I do like the pick.
Let's see if he can carry on it. At the gym, Faisal was the second strongest member of the team. That actually went to Trevor. Trevor, his nickname was the Machine. So if I call him that at any point during the game, that's why. But Faisal definitely comfortable as the carry as well.
Well, we are seeing marksman bans thrown out. I gotta say, the Lulu ban, curious to me. And yeah, I was gonna say maybe T is a Xayah being taken, but that's interesting because Wild Turtle, he's been very high on that Xayah. He's going to take it away himself. I'm curious, Manui, we could see something like a Seraphine here from Cincinnati Fear. Manui has played it in the past, and I think it actually shapes up pretty well into the full melee. Giving Silas that ult is rather dangerous. It could be one way that they could get out of it, but Manui, it's having a little bit of fun with the picks. It does look like it's going to be that Kalista, which does put that Tristana most likely in the mid lane.
I was going to say go for the Samira. Come on, let's see it. Just blind lock that in. Let's see if you can handle it against...
It's bad. Blind Samira, oh boy.
All right, but now what does TSM Challengers want to answer with?
I would like
Wild
this.
Turtle, Dragku. Dragku's been playing almost exclusively the ranged bot laners. He pulled out the Ashe. He is piloting even the Varus. But obviously, a lot of those banned away right now. So it's Kai'Sa.
If they pick Nautilus, I'm going to be screaming my head off for Braum. I'm just going to throw that out there now.
Okay. That would be very strong into at least the Kai'Sa and the Nautilus bot lane.
It's not only that, but like you have main engage with Maokai. Braum struggles with main engage. And also you have 2 marksmen to proc it on top of the Fiora. So I would really like Braum here. And even with Alistar showing, I would still love to see like Braum, Taric, or Renata. Renata's a really nice one here. So you can cancel the ally combo if you're really quick on that handshake from Renata. And also, this is a dive-heavy composition. Having that Renata hostile takeover for Fear to help peel for your marksman and deter the dive from TSM would be really valuable for Cincinnati Fear in this game.
Big, impactful ultimate, and it kind of feels like the bot lane, despite how crazy the meta's been this year, we're right back to last year's meta, Cubby. We got the Kalista Renata combo together here. But the big thing is still Shoji on this Tristana. You already highlighted the fact that Silas doesn't have the best matchup into it. I feel like I'm definitely leaning more Cincinnati Fear's side for this draft. I feel like they have a lot of what they've been finding success with.
They have winning lanes. I think the real question is, can Svenskeren break those winning lanes? Because you do have that Permafrost passive that you can stack on both solo laners on the top side, and Alistar can help out with on the bot side as well. So I think a lot of focus on Svenskeren, where he puts his early time and energy, because if these lanes are left in isolation, I'm with you. I favor the lanes that Fear have.
And can Faisal step up to Haunter in the top lane, who has had an incredible split so far? And
what?
Okay, so Doxa.
Oh yeah,
because you're on Silas, you can take the Kalista passive. So he buys the item and takes the Sejuani. It makes a lot of sense. Honestly, I think maybe Haunter would have been my pick though. But you're gonna be around Svenskeren more, I guess.
No, the cow, man. You throw the cow in there.
True, but hear me out. Hear me out. Throw in the guy with the really big arms. That's another fun one. No.
Okay. Well, I know that you like Haunter. I feel like you're still trying to get the lift off with him. But, you know, you're going to have to wait on that one, Kangas.
Yeah, he's not replying to my messages. Still kind of left out. And around Valentine's Day, too, so it hurts even more.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I'm sorry for TSM's loss. 14% to 86% in the chat right now. Fear has a lot of believers, and TSM, hey, you know what? This is what the community is believing right now. Let's see if TSM can silence the doubters.
Okay, so Shochi actually went for lethal tempo and not PTA. A little bit more of a focus on the late game Trist. One of the reasons I like this matchup so much for Tristana, you can use the rocket jump on Silas. Like, Silas cannot E forward. And if he does, you know, you can sidestep on the rocket jump and then follow up, and also use rocket jump to get out of the second part of Silas Q, where the majority of the damage comes from that ability. So it is a pretty tough lane for the Silas. Again, Doxa does have really good ultimates to choose from, so we will see if he can do things later in the game.
He's already taking a really rough trade here. Yeah, even just walking up to that one minion, that is disgusting. And he's got a bat. Oh, that's pretty heartbreaking as an AD carry.
Oh, God. That's not the start you want. I think that... So, Fear, they actually see Svenskeren on the Raptors, and they're going to hard push this. They know that they forced Turtle out. He just bought 2 potions, and Turtle, he's going to miss that entire first wave. So, Cincinnati, Fear again, Manui. I mean, that's one of the things I said in practice. One of the biggest differences that I've seen in this team is Manui's increased ability to lane. Like, he was not a great laner in a lot of the tryouts that I was sitting in on, or even the TL tryout where I was a coach. Manui drastically has improved in the laning phase. I think a lot of that's from the scrims that he's getting. I want to credit him quite a bit here because he already has changed the landscape of this bot lane matchup. Turtle's in big trouble.
It's about mid lane. It's about mid lane, not bot lane right now. Shochi. Ooh, he nice buffers with a rocket jump. That was really well timed.
That was really well timed. If you rocket jump too early, the Abscond Abduct actually can cancel the rocket jump. So Shochi showing some of that experience, as you highlighted. He already has games on the Trist, so really well done from him.
Meanwhile, looks like Manui backed early. Got the refill.
Svenskeren's going to find a win here.
Interesting.
Uh-oh.
Harry pushed out from the jungle. Svenskeren going forward.
Yes, Smite. Well done.
Yeah, okay. Svenskeren getting active on the map early. Again, Hanser and Svenskeren were the 2 players on TSM Challengers that we've been the most impressed with so far. Svenskeren was saying that, hey, they're trying to make it back to the LCS level, and honestly, so far, a lot of their games, a lot of their plays, despite the record, is still playing at that level.
We've had good moments out of these 2. We'll see if we can continue to get more, as that is something, of course, these guys very vocal about, you know, them being driven, and I'd love to hear that. I think we've seen some really good play out of TSM at times, just haven't seen the wins on the board. I think a lot of their comps have been early focused, and especially around topside, which isn't exactly the meta. And I gotta say, if we're gonna be taking traits like that, the bot lane is Turtle level 1, that's not a promising sign. As Kai'Sa, Alistar, they do need levels to operate, and so far Fear has been playing this out really nicely. Trevor doing well in this Renata.
Yeah, controlling the brush so well. I mean, they just walk up and clear out the ward instantly as 2. Doxa actually trading pretty well against Shochi right here, but yeah, ooh, that lethal tempo. She trades it right back.
Again, that was abilities used at the turret, not on Doxa, and it's still a win for Shochi. So if that gives you any idea of how good the matchup is for Trist, that's it right there. So with that said, Shochi does have the Cole, and we have mid priority over for Fear, so Harry can try and get up in the face of Svenskeren. There is no smite, so these chickens should be his, and Svenskeren forced to retreat.
Even Trevor walking up here.
Well
just
played.
Keep sight on Svenskeren, who gets hit by the sapling. Well, Manui's got to be careful. You are alone. Answer, meanwhile, casually just winning the top lane matchup. Gets a demolish proc on the turret. Takes a lot of damage here in the trade, but yeah, denying the vital proc from Faisal.
Again, Hanser has received a lot of praise from players about his Cassante play. It's now Manui.
Heal early from Trevor.
Yeah,
they want to turn back the damage, though. Manui can free fire here for a little bit. Svenskeren's got a low health bar, so they just flash in. First blood to Manui. Might even get Wild Turtle. Oh, the Rend wasn't there.
And TSM, I mean, playing into this lane, this is where Callista's so strong. Manui already has a lead in experience, given how the level 1 went. And Fear just crushed. I gotta say, the handshake from Trevor also really clutched there, too. This bot lane lead for Cincinnati Fear, it's massive.
They're 20 CS up, Cubby. 20 CS plus a kill now to Manui. And it's just so hard to play this position. Like, how does TSM Challengers come back from this? At least Fear has not focused the Dragon yet. I think that maybe they could have just looked to go right for the Dragon afterwards.
Nah,
so
you take the reset.
All right, they're not starting their early snacking. They go for the reset, and now... Maybe now they go for the Dragon since they still have priority?
No, you're exactly right. So you take the reset because bot is so far ahead. You just want to match the timer that they get back to lane so you can continue to pressure. So you can see now that Manui is coming back to lane, Perry has his top side camps up, but he's actually going to skip over them, especially now seeing Svenskeren on the top side of the map. That's really the only option that Svenskeren has left. That's going to be enough for Fear to start the Dragon.
Monster will try and get a freeze up there while Svenskeren will just go back to farming, but Dragon does belong to Cincinnati Fear. The bot lane control, it will spill over into the rest of the map. You know, you've seen it, as now shows
that was a cancel.
Mid lane. Oh, Svenskeren shows up, gets the passive.
Nice.
Is not level 6.
That was a really nice buster shot from Shochi as the Abscond Abduct. It did cancel the rocket jump that time around, but the buster shot found 2, so he stays safe. The Dragon falls, and as we talked about at the start of this game, Kangas, it really was going to be on Svenskeren to try and break the lanes for Cincinnati Fear. If they were left in isolation, they win. Well, guess what's happened so far? The only lane he's been able to have a reasonable impact on is top side. Faisal's okay being down a wave or 2. Bot lane's getting destroyed in isolation. Shochi's up big mid in isolation. It has 2 waves over him in CS, not to mention plates. And now TSM, that's why you're calling out, what plays do they have left on the map?
Felt like Svenskeren went for the early gank mid, and then that second gank mid. Actually, it's been mid 3 times, now that I think about it. And every single time, Shochi has been able to get away. So it's not for lack of trying from Svenskeren's side, it's just a lack of finding the right play, finding the right moment.
Yeah.
And now TSM are in a hole here. 1,000 gold behind, 1 Dragon down. Herald's starting. I'm curious if Dragu's going to try and get out of this lane. It's kind of dangerous to leave Wild Turtle alone, though, because Trevor can start aggroing the turret, and the Manui can ult him back in so they can reset that aggro. It's actually not too hard to dive onto a Kaisa without flash here, so Dragu will actually stay, and Perry will start the Herald.
So Svenskeren got 6 off of leeching that wave. That's actually pretty big because Perry is still at level 5. That might be enough to actually force Perry off. He might have to leech XP, but Trevor does have level 6. So that we're not all. We talked about how important that could be. Gonna have to see which ult Doxa goes for, as I believe the hijack was already used and burned, and that full rotation from Fear is gonna guarantee that Rift Herald goes over to themselves.
Okay. All 5 members there. This gives Wild Turtle a little bit of solo time bot lane to get some XP, get some gold, but definitely worth for Fear as they commit all members to the objective, get the objective, now go back to their lane states. And looking at the items currently, actually, if we could even pull up the gold here, because Wild Turtle will not get a plate. I'm curious how far Manui is ahead. 700 gold ahead, or 800 rather. Not a mountainous lead, but definitely feels good.
Ooh. You can see Shochi just turning that trade back on Doxa, even holding the rocket jump as those turrets are falling. Tristana. I like solo lane Tristana for a lot of reasons. One, her ability to push and take turrets, but also she scales really nicely with levels, getting the bonus range. Shochi, that Trist will be online early, and it is really tough for a very dive-heavy melee team to play into Tristana. Keep in mind, this was first rounded by Cincinnati Fear, so TSM have opted to play into this in the draft, and could be tricky for them.
Baku not feeling confident to go in there onto Trevor. I was holding my breath to see maybe he saw something. Yeah, I'm just wondering where TSM Challengers is able to find something. It's been a relatively slow game early on here.
It's got to be top lane.
Taking this one right now. All in onto Faisal.
Well,
the knockback
really well
and the solo kill. Hanser does it again.
Really well played. He kind of mind gamed the riposte there as Faisal doesn't pass the reaction speed test, and Hanser, he gets another solo kill for himself. This split again, Hanser, he's been the bright spot on TSM, and he continues to demolish top laners in this league as Faisal falls.
Gets the Demolish proc. This time we'll get a plate. I believe that'll be 2 total plates for Hanser. That's a lot of influx of gold, along with an entire wave crashing. Faisal does not have teleport, so that's to do the long walk back to lane. Fear, meanwhile, put in some pressure bot side. Perry is hanging out around here, so that'll be a trade of pressure on the map. Hanser's trying to keep TSM in this, but they will lose the turret.
And that was the full bot rotation for the Rift Herald, now paying off for Manui. No plates taken on the side of Wild Turtle. And you can see the plus 625 going over to the Kalista. Again, Kalista, when you have Kalista Renata into a full dive comp, Kalista can do some nasty things stacking up the spears into these tanks, especially if she is allowed to get ahead. That is exactly where Manui is in this game state.
And so far, Manui has been able to kind of free fire in a lot of these fights. Doesn't mean that TSM can't answer that later in the game, though. They have a lot of CC. But let's get another look here at the solo kill.
So, Faisal, the first mistake is the trade here. Haunster's going to step up an auto, and Faisal misses the Q. So he doesn't get the cooldown back, and that's enough for Haunster to actually all in. And he's going to mind game the riposte. So he waits to throw out the knock-up until after. He actually steps around it, too, so his attack speed doesn't get decreased. That's really, really good play from Haunster, as he just cuts right through Faisal. And it's another game where Haunster feels like the strongest point on the map for TSM. We're going to have to keep our eyes on him to see if he can carry. That's not easy to do on the Cassante. So really want to see if Haunster can step up. It's a tough ask this game.
30 CS up ahead with the solo kill and 2 plates, as now the rest of the team's coming up to help Haunster out. Faisal knocked up here. Grand challenge, but Wild Turtle's in for the damage. And TSM Challengers will claim Fear's top laner. They'll get a full turret for this. It's traded for Dragon, as Fear are down there, but they know where they need to put their attention in the current game state.
No, it's a good answer. They know they can't team fight the Dragon. Might as well get something elsewhere. I really do like that from TSM, as now you can see Haunster going to go try and answer the bot lane. TSM, they're going to trade down a little bit, as not only do they lose the Dragon, they almost lose this turret. Can Manui finish it off? It'd be big if they did. Yeah.
They do.
Okay, so it is a trade down, but at least they were able to trade something.
Wild Turtle will eventually get this turret on the top side, as Haunster will go bot to catch that wave. But smart from Manui and Trevor to stick around, push everything they can. Everybody roams mid now, and they're just going to go for this turret next. With the Tristana, I mean, this could be all plates here. Dox is looking to clear the wave. Yeah, I think he'll stop it.
It's actually kind of cute. Doxa W to minion to dodge out of the handshake there from Trevor. Not bad. Doxa still able to flex some of those Silas mechanics and interactions. This is Doxa. Collegiate champion. I think he's had some ups and downs this year so far on the TSM roster, but always love when Doxa hits the highs, because there's a reason why Doxadiff is spammed in chat quite a bit.
We know the potential of this player and what he's able to sometimes achieve when he's on the right day in the right moment. And that's not a third plate mid. I think that's also pretty big, because Fear, they were looking to push as much as they could. Looks like TSM Challengers for now have stemmed some of the bleeding. They have not let the gold lead get away from 1,000. So coming up on these like Dragon Soul fights, if they can maintain relative equilibrium here, they could look to fight.
Fiora being, kept down is really good for TSM, but the double marksmen are going to be online. And again, this is where I will once again advocate for solo lane Tristana. You not only scale well with levels, but at this stage of the game, she is a marksman that can be alone in the side lane, given the safety of her kit with the rocket jump and the buster shot and her ability to wave clear. So we will see if Shoshi does end up going bot soon, but before that, Herald is spawning, so they're actually going to bail on the bot lane, and we could see a skirmish here as Perry.
Ooh, Perry, nice dodge out there.
Well played.
Really well played from Perry, as Manui flashes in for the final tick of damage, but Haunster turns it back around. Manui's out. Manui is down, and Haunster is in this fight. Big double knockback. Shoshi jumps in. The rocket jump resets. Is he able to 1v3, though? I don't think so. Double kill to Wild Turtle. Flashes forward. Doxa missing out on the stun, but Shoshi slowed down. Doxa can easily take this one. Oh, maybe not too easy. Shoshi just had enough mana to jump away.
So TSM, they win the 5v4, and yes, Manui, he did flash in to get the kill, but that was a big mistake from Manui. As he goes down, again, he's a Fed member, and those kills, look at Wild Turtle. He is 3-0-1, was sitting on a Kraken Slayer. He's going to base and get so much more on the Kaisa as we take another look. And yes, Perry gets out A-OK. It's a great hostile takeover, but we're down numbers. So flashing in to finish off Svenskeren from Manui, and we just open ourselves right up to the Haunter Wombo combo. Doxa has the Maokai ult himself, so Manui trades himself for the jungler. That's not worth it, my friend. All the resources are on you, and Haunter punishes to the maximum degree.
And Shoshi jumping in will at least take down Haunter there, but yeah, Wild Turtle's got double
nice escape by Shoshi.
Meat tanks in front of him.
Yeah.
and can then just kind of pop off in that fight as the Kraken Slayer completed 3-0-1 now. Wild Turtle is right back in this game.
And that's huge again, because a lot of your lead, it's in the Callista, it's in, the solo lane Tristana. And if Kai'Sa is able to execute people, I mean, it is a threat overload composition for the side of TSM. And Kai'Sa scales really nicely into this game. So Cincinnati Fear, a pretty big mistake there with that fight, giving a lot of gold over to TSM where they needed it. And again, props to Haunter, who played that fight so damn well.
The carries are coming online for TSM Challengers, but the gold lead is not in their favor yet. They still have to climb a little bit longer. We're kind of back, despite how cool that play was, kind of back to a similar map state from before. The biggest difference being the Wild Turtle is now a threat in the fight for this dragon. Because before you were saying the double marksmen from Fear were a threat. Well, if Wild Turtle can get onto Manui, can actually do a lot of damage to him at this point. And there's a lot of CC to set up Wild Turtle for some kind of big pop-off play.
Kai'Sa is good in the Callista in the later stages. You can pop her and try to attack her from a lot of angles. So we will see if Turtle's up for it. As a lot of eyes on Turtle. He's someone that loves to position aggressively. We've seen him, do that for better or worse throughout his entire career. That doesn't discount this season as well. But he's on that Kai'Sa where if you do pick your spot at the right time, you can win the fights and win the game for your team.
Vision fights in mid lane, a priority fight here as the dragon will be up in 10 seconds.
Wait,
Still actually gets to teleport out of Haunter. So
curious.
I mean, to me, this says that TSM's just giving up the dragon.
It's tough to fight into a Maokai who already has river control. You can see Perry doing a nice job with that line of saplings. It's TSM. They got to play around it. Cloud Soul actually does help you run away, so that is pretty nice. You can see Perry keeping those in the river. Doxa will check a couple here. Yeah, they're going to sack.
Dragon's just gone. I mean, Haunter was pathing down, but it's just a little mistimed, I think, if the plan was to actually push away.
The turret, though.
Answer. Herald dropped mid. Everyone from Fear is here. We could have another 5v5. So my eyes are going to be on the AD carries. What's Wild Turtle's approach going to look like if they want to dive? They don't dive. It's just a Herald charge on the turret.
And they take the Raptors, It's the consolation prize.
Haunter wants a lot more, though. TSM Challengers, they're just playing into a lot of the ultimates of Fear, but it actually capitalizes. So,
I mean, TSM are the ones winning on this post play, right? They're taking away the camps and the resources from Fear. I think that Fear, they need to try and get in the 3-lane state. I know that Cassante wins in the Fiora, given how the matchup is right now, but Fiora eventually will be able to win. And Shoshi should be able to slam each side lane that he's in. That's the real reason I think that Fear should be playing 3 lanes and getting more resources for themselves.
Yes, I'm trying to take as many camps as possible away because they gave up that dragon, and they'll catch up in the gold. So for this 4th dragon is where I think the big fight will probably break out here as the AD carries are starting to pick up their second items.
Curiously enough here, I think Perry's build actually says a lot about what Fear want to do. Because he's going for the Leandries, and it's a very tanky team for TSM. So these saplings are going to hurt, right? But that's not the Radiant Virtue Maokai, we're used to seeing as that big tanky frontline for double marksman comp. So Perry really putting an emphasis on that poke damage. We'll see if it's something that pays off for Fear, but they're going to try and get the health bars low before they fight with this double marksman and try to skirmish, avoid the fights, just take the turrets.
I'm not going to lie, I don't like that as much as the tanky frontline build because if you can't create as much space for your carries, the game's going to be harder for them to play. And even if your saplings can chunk out, a fifth of Svenskerin's health bar, well, I mean, your AD carries can do that too. If they're just allowed to actually hit him.
We've seen Fed Tristana's, I mean, if Triss gets going with the Q running, Triss can do enough damage for your entire team.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm torn. Oh, okay.
Very respectful flash coming in from Trevor there. Just says, nope, I'm not interested in getting CC'd once by the Sejuani.
Interesting, too, because you had Manui's ult, so you could have used Fate's Call. But no, going to be the flash committed. And now, with a couple people spotted in the topside jungle of Fear, TSM and Draku has actually rotated bot. Going to help Haunter, again, keep up the pressure in the side lane. So Haunter winning this matchup as Cassante much longer than what you're supposed to win the matchup as, given the focus that TSM put on the top side early and Haunter's dominance on the Cassante in the 1v1.
Speaking on that top lane matchup coming in, The question I had was, can Faisal hang with Hanser? After dying in the 1v1 early on, it's been a struggle so far. Now, scaling will probably be the name of the game. Try and get towards a couple more items as the Fiora so that you can answer the Cassante. But as of now, Hanser is showing still he's got what it takes to hang even with the hype prospects coming in newer to the league.
And an impressive split for Hanser. Playing really, really well. And again, TSM wants to win. I mean, Hanser's got to be a big part of that. He actually gets the ghost for free to Faisal. Hanser continues to slam this matchup. And it's really opening up the map for TSM as now that Faisal is forced to base, TSM can rotate, take the mid turret. Fear don't feel like they can fight. Dox is going to throw out the ult for fun because it was expiring. And TSM, they're the ones picking up resources before this soul spawns and is an option here for Cincinnati Fear.
That's going to be a turret in the mid lane, a turret in the bot lane. And now a reset for TSM a minute before the Dragon. Let's see how Fear wants to approach this, because if they choose to commit to the map right now, they can have a little bit of control, but as I say that, they actually go for their own reset. So it's going to be TSM Challengers with a little bit more tempo on the map. They got the resets off. They're going to get back around this bottom half and can set up the early vision line.
Importantly for TSM, there's not a Leandries on Perry's Maokai, because that is a big damage buff against a very health-heavy, tanky frontline. And I gotta say, given the build for Perry, I really like the early Warmogs coming in for Svenskeren. I think that's a great read by Svenskeren, just given what the game plan is for Fear. And I don't know if Fear has enough in the tank to actually fight this Dragon. I gotta say, I mean, Draku's gonna catch a couple of the saplings now, but Fear's looking like they want to give this one up, and they're scared to fight.
Chochi's positioning on the top half, has teleport, so could look for a flank, but it's a Tristana. Unlikely you actually want to commit to that, so yeah, maybe just give up the Dragon, take the top turret instead, funnel more gold into the Trist. So TSM, they're earlier to the play, earlier on the map, and they are rewarded by stopping the Dragon Soul.
And props to TSM and especially Hanser, because I really feel like Hanser winning this side lane against Fiora is what is opening up the map for TSM and allowing for them to actually get in the bot river against a Maokai team and just have numbers advantage, right? Because Fiora isn't playing on the enemy side of the map. She's playing on her own. She's not able to open things up for Fear to take over the terrain and utilize the strength of Maokai, which is controlling the map, right? Whatever quadrant you want, Maokai can give you with the saplings. So I think the way that Hanser is playing with TSM, it's really opened things up for them, and picking up that Dragon, we're going to extend the life of this game. It's pretty even at this point. See if TSM can execute on this Kai'Sa that is pretty far ahead.
And I will say, also to Dox's credit, okay, never mind, I'll get back to that. Parry engage on, this is why I like the tank build. You know, you can actually survive these situations much better. He does survive, but TSM Challenger, they commit all the way, and Shochi gets the kill onto Wild Turtle. It's a lot of the DPS down, but now Svenskeren and Hanser are in this fight, and there's no front line to stop. Fear cannot answer. Faisal actually does. He gets one. Now Dragu going in onto Trevor will take that kill. Faisal, the last remaining member. TSM Challengers, deep in enemy territory, will pick up a team fight win.
And Turtle, he opened up the fight. He died first, but it didn't matter because once Hanser got here, he's way too big for the side of Fear to deal with.
And even though they're tanky, even though they're big health bars, the damage that a Sejuani and a Cassante can do still needs to be respected when there's no tank left. Perry's not even a tank again. He's going the AP build. Nobody can absorb the damage. I think that was a perfect example of TSM having a composition with bigger health bars and the ability to stay in fights longer.
I mean, Turtle goes in and gets one shot from Maokai. I got that. That's not worth it. But the rest of the fight, look at how Hanser is just able to destroy this. Actually, his ult got him out of the hostile takeover, and then they waited for the Renata W to expire to take down the Kalista, so Manubi couldn't keep on firing. Really, really good team fighting here from TSM, especially Hanser and Svenskeren, who continue to be standouts in this game.
TSM Challengers roaring back to life, taking the Baron after the play. And they have a gold lead now. They're sitting on a decent chunk. I'd love to actually take a look at that because Doxa got the Rabadon's death cap. That was something I was going to highlight before. The side lanes are even harder now for Fear because there's two people that can look to answer Faisal and Shochi. As, that top lane, The gold is massively in Haunter's favor, and bot lane's caught right back up. This is what I'm talking about. Look at all the AP on Doxa. He's taking the fight onto Faisal. They've traded ultimates against each other. Doxa's still not winning it, though. Faisal chasing underneath the turret. CC'd. Shochi goes in. Doxa has the stopwatch. Flashes to safety. Buster shot, not enough. Parry! With the smite to claim the kill.
Oh, Faisal barely didn't go down. That's big, though, because Fear, they can force some resets out of TSM. You can see Haunter, he's going back to base now. Haunter does have the empowered TP if he wants to join, but TSM, they're taking up the bot inhibitor turret. Minions, though, they're out. Let's see if Perry chases. He has the ult.
Fear are going in. They're trying to answer. Oh, the handshake not landing from Trevor, though. So Fear defend their inhibitor turret.
Still, they're the ones that get gold and get a win out of the play, right? They didn't only burn 2 ultimates for that from each of their solo laners. They kept the big ones in the hostile takeover and the Nature's Grasp. So, Fear, I like the defense. It was a creative way to get around TSM's Baron setup. They take Baron buff out of TSM. They force them to reset, and they delay the push.
And it was Doxa going in for the play initially, thinking, I can take this 1v1. Had the same thought that I did. A lot of AP right now. But the scary thing is, if you can't burst down the Fiora, she's probably going to outdamage you in a longer drawn-out fight. Yeah. I think you're having a better shot of trying to one-shot the Tristana or the Kalista, definitely the Renata. So maybe put Haunter back in the side lane with the Fiora going forward.
I know that Faisal hasn't had the strongest game, but once you get to level 16 as Fiora, you are really tough to deal with. He's at 15 right now. We saw some of that with Doxa. And if Faisal's able to pick up one more level before this Dragon fight, that could be really big for Fear, because again, they're trying to get the soul for themselves, but TSM, they still have Baron up for their own members. Gives them a lot of priority to take over the terrain around the Dragon, and they're able to prevent Perry from getting those deep saplings in that could be a lot of pokes. So setup still pretty good for TSM right now.
They're approaching into Fear's jungle, trying to drop down a deep vision line. Gives teleport flanks for Haunter, who's on the top half of the map right now. Shochi will actually walk up and answer, so I think Fear will again give up a dragon. They are not posturing and positioning to contest. That is 2 dragons in a row for TSM Challenger. I mean, despite the early game going real rough for them on the bottom half of the map, they have done a fantastic job of, stabilizing and then pushing advantages where they have them.
2 dragons. 2 souls prevented here. As Fear, I think as we get in the later stages, my eye is very much on Shochi, actually, on the Tristana. With the LDR now completed, it is one way that you can rip through those tanks. We talked about how Triss could do enough damage to, pump through a whole team. Shochi is set up to do that. Is the one person that I feel like can really deal with the Kasante Sejuani frontline right now. And we'll see if Shochi's up to it.
So I got a question for you, Cubby, because I'm not going to lie, I'm such a hater of this Maokai build, partly because I've never seen it hit a 3rd item. I always see it lose at Demonic Embrace Leandri's.
Okay.
What do you even build next at this point?
Zanya's.
Oh. You know what? I can get behind that. I suppose I can get behind that. He has a Fiendish Codex that would get into that, so he's going for the cooldown reduction above the armor early.
Curiously enough, I think that the Cloud map actually takes a lot of power away from Maokai, because with the Cloud Soul, the augment it makes to the map, you can just run away from the saplings. You don't even have to burn like movement spells.
Is that the secret tech to beating the OP Maokai jungle?
Just roll Cloud Soul,
Just roll Cloud Soul, it's that easy. TSM Challenger are going for the fight.
TP.
They have a TP flank right now, so Fear have to fight their way out of this. But a massive engage from Dragku, locking them into place. Manui is going to go down. Cannot get the Ren stacks fast enough. Shochi might get Doxa right here. Has the damage for 1. Rocket jump to safety, but TSM Challenger, they have traded up heavily here. 3 for 1 trade, and they will chase more. Trevor and Shochi together.
Canceled.
Stunned midair. Shochi's down. That's an ace for TSM Challengers.
If you can't bust the tanks, they will bust you as Turtle stays alive behind that big front line. And a great flank engage from TSM. I really want to credit Dragku, who sidestepped the Nature's Grasp and found the WQ flash combo on Alistar to blow up that fight, make sure Manui went down first, and make sure that engage was so incredibly favorable for TSM. Great job finding angles and executing.
They push the mid, supers will spawn, they can reset, and Baron's up in 20 seconds. TSM Challengers are poised to take this game. Look at that engage.
Yeah, he sidestepped Nature's Grasp and then went in for the big engage. Manui goes down instantly. Good follow-up from Turtle. It's a decent attempt from Fear to peel, but not enough. It's far too late as Turtle even gets around the hostile takeover. Chochi pumping out all the damage he can, but that fight is too late. The angles, the engage from TSM too good, and good to see Draku have a big impact on this game late.
And you can see the difference in the comps right there. Wild Turtle had a Fiora on top of him, but also a friendly Alistair that could CC the Fiora and prevent Faisal from just blowing up Wild Turtle immediately. As we're back to live, the AP Maokai caught in his own jungle, setting up at the Baron, and just popped like a balloon.
Oh, we actually have TPs going into the base. Fear.
Oh, Shochi. Wait a minute. No way. That's a big wave. If Shochi hard commits for this, if the rest of Fear keep
okay, they're committed to the Baron.
That's a back coming in from Doxa. Baron is committed to Faisal. Can you stop the back? Doxa's back. Stop. Everybody stop the back. Survive as long as you can. Maybe Shochi can win this with the back door. That's one turret down. He's looking for the other one.
They're basing now. They're basing.
Oh, his minion wave's not quite big enough. TSM, they will win the fight. They'll get back, and that's just going to be game. They have supers mid-wave. They can clear out the rest of Cincinnati Fear. A nice attempt at the back door, but TSM Challengers, they're too strong right now. And
this game was over.
Supers.
I respect it. You know, make it interesting as Fear. I think they had to do something like that, but not going to be enough. And
GG.
TSM, yeah, GG.
Barry's back up just to go down one more time as TSM Challengers pick up a much-needed win here. Shochi, okay, wait a minute. I keep saying this. Is this going to be the crazy base defense? Is this the highlight reel play? He's taking a lot of damage, but he's dishing out a lot of damage. He bought the time
Faisal's here.
for Faisal and Trevor.
And the game.
They're doing damage. Okay, Wild Turtle's got it.
Woo.
And TSM Challengers will take game one.
They had to make it interesting. All right, something had to happen there. Got kind of weird, you know, little freak out here. You know, not all calm and dandy in the back half, but you know what? Win's a win. TSM, the threat overload composition, it worked. I think the big part of that game, it was a good game from Fear until that mid lane fight where Manui flashed forward and died. That gave Turtle the gold he needed to turn things around. And once TSM got that lead, they had the team fight advantage given the jungle builds, right? You have a tank, 3 tanks going up against this AP Maokai. TSM kept on forcing. I think they played that game out very well.
3 tanks and a Silas, who has a pretty big health bar by the end of the game. So TSM Challengers pick up the win. We're going to send it to a short break while we give the players time to rest, recover, and recoup for game number 2. And also, we'll bring back Sierra after this for our halftime show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You a pro gamer struggling with your Riz? You looking for a hot date on Valentine's Day? Well, look no further. I'm the Rizzler, and I'm here to help. Just like I help these gamers with my remedy to love. Do you want children?
Yeah.
You do? Probably. Okay.
Gotta pass on the name, you know?
You don't have children. Do you want children?
Eventually, yeah, I do.
Okay.
But not right now.
How'd you break your collarbone? God.
I was playing Pokemon Go, and then...
What? Oh, no, don't tell me,
I was
like...
skating.
Yeah.
I was skating, and then I was catching, like, a Pikachu, and then I just fell. I think the Pikachu was worth it.
Oh, really? Was it, like, a shiny, or just you're about Pikachu?
I just like Pikachu.
What's the dorkiest thing about you, Young?
I play League of Legends for a living.
I'm actually very lucky. My family, we played a lot of games. Like, my brother kind of indoctrinated my mom into, like, being a gamer. So, like,
really?
we grew up with a lot of games, yeah.
That's
I
cool.
used to have, like, a Clash of Clans, like, family clan. Like, it was legit.
That's so cute, actually.
Yeah.
I
So,
love
like,
that.
it's like growing up, I played, like, a lot of different games. And, like, I would always try and be really good at, like, Guitar Hero. I play, like, especially, like, a lot of rhythm games.
Uh-huh.
Like, growing up, like, Counter-Strike, I tried to be really good at, like, Rocket League. Like, I would always, like, be, like, high ranked. Like, H1Z1, that was one of my favorites.
Oh, wow, really? Okay.
Yeah. So that's probably, like, a dorky thing. I like to be good at games.
Do you have an irrational fear?
I have a fear of, like... that I'm allergic to something.
Oh.
That I don't know.
So do you have a type?
Maybe, like, loyalty.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
They're positive, understanding.
Okay, I like that.
Everything takes time,
Yeah.
and And good energy, some good stuff.
My Riz is of the highest quality. Just look at the reviews from other successful Riz artists.
Me and my girlfriend recently had our 1-year anniversary on the 28th of January.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to spending my second Valentine's Day ever with her in a few days. I'm loving what I see here.
Okay.
Group photo, letting them know you have friends, you know.
Yeah.
They gotta know that you have that social life, that you can know how to take them out, bring them around.
Mm-hmm.
The wonderful face-on, front-on selfie. Great smile, glistening white teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely beautiful. And then an Italy picture, letting them know what your interests are. You know, get a little closer to them, find a similar demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Put in his self-care routine, worst idea he's ever had. He wants somebody who's positive, understanding, and has good energy. He's looking for no negativity to be brought in his life. Somebody who will support him in his career. He knows what he wants. Women love that. Okay, well, from a glance, 3 face-on pictures in his apartment. Not bad, not bad. Maybe get a group picture in there. Like I said with Tomios, women love those.
Yeah.
But so far so good. He looks handsome. You see him in his TL jersey, his hoodie.
We had a class together freshman year of college, and like I saw her reading patch notes one day, and I was just like, holy okay. Like,
You were smitten,
I
huh?
have something in common, so then I shot my shot, and we started talking, and a year later we started dating. That was 2018, and then we started dating in 2019, and now it's 2023, so...
Oh my god, you guys are going on
a
4
little
years.
over 3 years.
Yeah.
If someone already liked how he looked, they would for sure swipe and have like things to talk about, because like you could be like, yo, what's going on in this picture?
Yeah.
Or like just ask about his things, but like nothing stands out too much to like... Yeah, I think like it would be easy for someone to just swipe left really quickly because there's nothing that like instantly stands out, you know? His first picture is very with the little Korean heart. Yeah, the second picture is a huge flex, honestly. Both the Proving Ground champion,
Yeah.
those badges are pretty cool. The third one is I guess it shows he's like wholesome, you know, he's not afraid to like put himself out there and like maybe embarrass himself a little bit. I mean, this shows that he doesn't have bad ideas anymore, you know? Like his worst idea was in the past, and now he's a grown man. He's changed, so I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And he wants someone who's positive, understanding, has good energy. I think that fits Tomio, so it's a pretty good dating profile.
What more do you need to see? With my help, even the most awkward can up their Riz. Call the Rizzler today to up yours.
At the end of the day, your date is your responsibility. The Rizzler's not responsible for any rejection, humiliation, loneliness, and especially for your lack of Riz.